Just getting into traditional muzzle loading, wondering, should I get a flask, a horn? Should I buy one on eBay? Should I get one from China? Let's dive right in. Hey guys, Bob McBride, Black Powder TV, bringing you one more video in our new shooter series. This one is on powder horns, powder flasks, and what you should get for your new muzzle loader. So let's talk about it. Powder horns, powder flasks. New, used, where should you go? What should you do? So it's mainly going to come down to the gun that you have. So if you have a muzzle loader that's representative of something 1770s, flintlock, you're going to want to go with the powder horn, unless you picture in your head that this was great grandpa's gun and now it's 1840 and I'm going to get a flask, which is fine too. You may or may not be a reenactor. I'm not a reenactor. I hunt, so I shoot these guns, and so I have these implements and these accoutrements. So that's all it is. We're all reenactors to a certain extent. If you got a gun that was made or designed to represent one that was made in 1770, you're reenacting. So if you're going to carry something that is circa 1770, then you're going to want a powder horn. So we'll start at the powder horns. Should you get a new powder horn off of eBay, 25 bucks, they're all over the place? Or should you get an old one from the flea market? Should you get a used one on eBay? What should you do? New ones on eBay, okay? We'll just start with this. Buy a new one. You can buy a used one, you can buy an original. It's gonna have wormholes in it possibly. Certainly the wood plug in the base is gonna have shrunk over time. You're gonna have gaps, you're gonna have to seal that up, wax that up. If there's wormholes in it, you're gonna have to epoxy that up. And then you'll have a useful horn. That's doable, and if that's your thing, if you like sitting in the shop and doing that kind of thing, go for it. Much better than a $25 made in Taiwan, made in China powder horn. So, but my suggestion to you is to get a new horn, pass on the stuff that is 25, 30 bucks on eBay, because it's going to be a stubby little horn. It's not going to be great. It's not going to look very good. It's kind of second, third class horns, kind of straight, round, short and fat, and kind of funky. Get a new horn. Start, if you're going to get it on eBay, start at kind of the 80 buck range. You know, if you have to get a cheap one to get going, by all means, please do that. Get out there, get making smoke, but if you're on your second one, or if you just want to skip the first horn that you're going to get and then you're going to give to the kids to play with, or you know, your son to run out through the woods like he's Daniel Boone, then skip that and go ahead and get something kind of in the 90 buck range. $90 will get you something nice on eBay. But what I really suggest you do is to find a horn maker. They're all over the place. There's a horn makers guild. There's guys that make horns the traditional way, using the traditional means, the traditional dies, iron nails to hold it on, or brass tacks, just like they did back then. The horn is specially designed for a right-handed shooter, left-handed shooter, hugs your body, hangs right, all of those things, just like you would have done if you went to the general store or the gunsmith back in 1840, 1820, and well, actually earlier than that, right? So 1700s. Then you would find a horn that fit you, that fit your body, that tucked in nicely. And I'll give you an example. So this little horn right here is an old original. Very interesting horn, got lots of twist on it, right? So hanging on your body this way, see how this curves into your side. So if you have this with the butt up, because you're gonna have a staple in the back holding this end of your lanyard. So this is gonna be hanging up. This front end curves into you and it's going to hug your body. It's not going to get snagged. Well, you say, Bobby, I can flip this around and wear it on the left side and it's going to do the same thing, right? Well, your butt's hanging down. You have your strap. That's going to flip that over. So you're going to have this poking way out, and that's fine too. Some people like that. You can pour that right in, no big deal. But if it's poking out and you're going through the woods, you're going through the brush, that's gonna catch on stuff. And instead of looking for game, instead of looking for squirrels, you're gonna be trying to hold your horn back, getting it untangled from branches and all that. So you have to consider how the horn is shaped, and that's a consideration that you're not gonna get with a $30 horn. So 1770 rifle. So if you want a horn that is representative of something somebody would buy when they bought this rifle at the gunsmith, you've got something like this. So this is a 1776 scrimshawed. So it's an F&I, French and Indian War, Revolutionary War period style horn. Scrimshawed with the owner's, purported owner's name. This is not an original, but it's designed after an original. Made by Kathy and Scott Sibley, well-known horn makers. It's a great horn, beautiful horn. I carry this with that English rifle, but this expensive horn. You're talking $300, $400, $500 for something like this. So that may not necessarily be the horn that you want for your first muzzleloader. Oh, and Scott and Kathy Sibley can be contacted if you do want something like that. They can be contacted on the Contemporary Long Rifle Association website. Contemporary Long Rifle Association is an association of traditional muzzleloading artists, artisans who make all the accoutrements by hand, blacksmith stuff, bags, horns, all of that. So if you're just getting into this and you want a resource, Contemporary Long Rifle Association is a great, great resource. So another type horn, this one's a little straighter, see? So it can be carried on either side. This is a Southern Mountain horn made by Tim Crosby, another great horner. He can be contacted on American Long Rifle Forum. He's on there and sells his stuff a lot on there. Southern banded horn. So these bands, separate pieces of horn from other horns, banded on is a Southern style removable tip. Makes it easier to load. The hole down here is larger than the hole up here when it comes to loading powder. So great horn. 150 bucks, 175 bucks. You get it simpler, a simpler horn from the same maker is this. This is another Tim Crosby horn, simpler. So you're looking, 125, 150 bucks. Same removable antler tip, nice grommet thing on the back, right, to hold your strap. So a great horn, well made, iron nails holding the butt in, beautiful, beautiful horn. So something else to look for is you can go simple. You can get a simple horn from some of these guys, some of these horners, without spending a whole lot of money and have something that's super nice that's gonna last for 200 more years. So that's a good way to go as well. Another option for horns is pocket horn. So a day horn, pocket horn, it's a small horn, typically flat. You can put it in your pocket, put it in your back pocket, put a bunch of balls. If you're going squirrel hunting, 20 little 32 caliber balls in your front pocket. The other pocket has a handful of patch material and you're good to go. You're heading out. So the bag and the horn combination, that's great. You can carry all your jags, have all that stuff. But if you're just gonna go out and say set in a deer stand, you don't need all of that. You may reload one time, you may not. So maybe that one shot. When I go on to the deer stand on the farm here, I load my rifle here and head out. I don't prime the pan. I take the flintlock. I head out, I don't prime the pan. I get out there, I take my priming horn, which is a small horn just for priming the pan on a flintlock. And that's all I take. I get in the deer stand, I prime it, and then I'm setting. I make that one shot. I'm not reloading in the deer stand. So it's that shot or nothing. So there's your horns. So, and let me show you a couple of these pocket horns real quick. So this is a Kevin Blevins made pocket horn. So Kevin Blevin is also on the CLA website, but this is a double, this is a divided horn. So this end, little door here, that holds your round balls, and then this side holds your powder. So it's all in there. So bullets or round balls and powder in one horn. So that's another nice thing about a pocket horn is you don't need all the stuff, and you have a small horn and a lot less to carry. Another small pocket horn. This one's made by Kathy England, was made about 08, beautifully scrimshawed, English style, kind of Scottish English style horn. Could go on something like on that as a regular horn hanging with that bag, kind of an English style bag, English style gun. I've considered that, just hanging this on that bag and using that for the Mike Brooks rifle. But whatever you want to do, but that's a good option. So powder horns, pocket horns, full-size strapped horns, make sure they fit. Get something nice, you know, get something well-made. Well-made's gonna start about 80, 90 bucks on up to, you know, mid 100s. You're gonna get you a really good horn. So that's the horns. Powder flasks, that's an opposite thing. So powder flasks, buy an original if you can. They're all over eBay. They're gonna be kind of 80 bucks, 90 bucks, 100 bucks for a really nice, usable original. The new ones, the reproductions, made in Spain, not so terrible, but not great, made in Taiwan, made in China, they're gonna come apart. So to give you an example, here's a Taiwanese made military style Civil War powder horn. So it's got the military motif, well-known design, the piece flask, made in Taiwan. Can't be, I don't know, 10 or 20 years old at the most. The both rings are off for carrying it, and it's virtually detached all the way around the edge. It's probably 50% separated, so useless. And there's no dents in it. Nobody set on it. Just came apart. So you don't want to have to worry about that. So get something like this. This is a James Dixon and Son out of Sheffield, England, mid 1800s. I think I paid 100 bucks, 120 bucks for this horn on eBay, maybe 5-8 years ago. So, and I've looked, you can get these for 100 bucks. Solid, well built, you know, 200 plus years old, 150, 200 years old, and it's still together. Spring works fine, use great steel. All the mechanism is just fine. Nothing wrong with this at all. And I love the hanging game design because this goes with one of my hunting guns. And so the hanging rabbit, and I think there's some turkeys in there. So great little motif, great powder horn for just slinging on with your bag and carrying. So buy original on these. You can buy a new one and you'll get away with it for a while. They're very thin. You're gonna set on it, you're gonna trip and fall, you're gonna land on it, it's gonna smash, it's gonna come apart. You got a pound of powder, half a pound of powder on the ground, wasted, $30 worth of powder. You know, why bother? Save up your pennies, get you one of these powder flask. So to wrap it up, powder horns, get a new one, get one from an Artisan. You're gonna spend 100 bucks, you're gonna spend 150 bucks maybe. Get a nice one on eBay, you're gonna spend 80, 90 bucks. And I've bought them 80, 90 bucks on eBay, and it's a nice horn. So don't think you've got to spend 150, 200 bucks to get a good horn. You don't. But a $25 horn, it just, you know, they're not very attractive. I mean, they work fine, not very attractive. Short, stubby, kind of ugly horn. You know, just pass on that if you can. If you can't, then by all means get one of those. But work your way to a nicer horn, a bigger horn, nicer horn, custom fit to you. And that's hard to do sight unseen, but if the pictures are taken correctly, you can see that bend and you can visualize how it's going to go. And you can even ask the horn maker, is this a right hand carry or left hand carry? You're not going to be able to do that with a $25 horn. So typically they're straight anyway, because it's the cheaper horn, the stuff that's got the pretty curves and the pretty shape and goes black to green or whatever. The Artisans are scooping those up. So 100 bucks for a powder horn, 100 bucks for a flask. Get an original flask, get a new powder horn. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe, please like.